Vegas Bad Boy of podcasting is an entertainment-based wrestling program. The opinions shared are that of the host and their guest. Some celebrity voices are impersonated and usually not well. This program is not intended for kids and certain adults. Listeners' discretion is advised. You have been warned. Now let's get ready to podcast. Hey. Welcome to another edition of Vegas Bad Boys of podcasting. I'm your host, DJ Impact, and I got the Bad Boys here with me. Mad Michaels, how are you?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I feel the same way, believe it or not. King Lucky, how are you?
Quote the Raven, nevermore.
All right. And Simon Street, how are you?
What up, everybody? How you doing? No spoiler alerts. I'm going to reveal in 5 seconds the ending of Endgame. I'm just playing.
Great, we done lost everybody now who hadn't seen it.
If you ain't seen it by now,
well, that's
true. You need a GoFundMe account.
That's true. Lots have been going on in wrestling. I know a lot's been on your mind because my text messaging has been going off crazy. Everybody speculating on what they're seeing and what they're hearing. Before we jump to the obvious, let me go over to WWE Raw. E is war. Is it still war?
No,
maybe it's not war anymore.
No, it's
just Raw.
It's wild card. Wild card. Whatever the hell he said.
WWE Wild Card. That's the next
Wild card rules.
Vince seemed very excited about that.
He was hands on.
Yeah, I like it. You can, you got 3 superstars that can...
Four.
That's right.
It's 4. Yeah.
It's 4.
That's true.
Lars made him change his mind.
That's right.
And his underwear, apparently.
Yeah. So 4 from SmackDown at any given time could come over to Raw and then vice versa. So what do y'all think about that? I mean, first off, I thought the whole idea of having split brands was to give other talent opportunity to shine. If we're going to now start bringing over others, I mean, yes, it's going to make the show pop because they are the greatest, but is that kind of going against the whole idea in the first place?
So my question is to you is what the hell are you going to do about it? It's going to happen anyway.
Well, true, but I'm just saying, I mean, where do you think the mindset was going to decide to do this out of nowhere?
Lack of medication just before the show. I don't know.
What do you think, King Lucky?
Vince panicked.
Did he really?
Yeah. I think ratings are...
He would never say that.
Ratings are down. They've been down for a while, but now you're in the face of the Fox premiere coming up.
True.
Rumor has it.
Okay.
No, you got to do a deeper voice for me.
Rumor has it.
There you go. I like that.
That both Fox and USA want the brand split to come to an end. So...
You mean they're going to get in bed together?
I think Vince is trying to avoid it because they just did this huge promotion. They did the brand split.
Right.
But it's inevitable. It's going to happen.
I mean,
yeah, you've seen this Monday night where they brought in basically like 4 people for what?
Right.
But they didn't bring in Cena.
Yeah.
Because usually
that's
you're most likely to say.
Let me guess, Matt. You actually like this idea, correct?
Oh, I get why they're
Hold
doing
on. Hey,
it.
Hey, Sammy, you don't have to cut the promos today.
There's a very simple reason.
Okay.
Your talent is down in your main names. Okay. So you have no Cena, right?
Right.
Dave Bautista is now retired, right?
Okay. True.
Brock Lesnar, not on the show. Ronda Rousey, not on the show.
Right.
Undertaker, not on the show.
Yeah.
Goldberg, not on the show.
Okay.
So you have to do something to generate the gap in star power. Vince has already said this. They said this on a conference call a few weeks ago when they were doing the quarterlies.
Okay.
Blamed it on the injuries.
I mean, people have been out.
Blame it on your schedule.
So that's it. It's plain and simple. That's it. It's a way to get people over.
Yeah.
And on the original brand split, what happened? You're only one champion at the time. was on both shows.
Yep.
So what's the fucking difference, guys? Blow me.
So the blowing part, I just need to understand. Is that before or after a shower? Because there's some people that may want to know about that.
Oh my goodness.
Well, look, I mean, yeah. Bottom line, I mean, like I say, it's not like it's a bad thing. You know, we get a chance to see Roman twice now, so I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Well, can I ask you a question? Is that more because your wife loves Roman? So if she's happy, you're happy because she can see him twice.
You know what? I'll think about that. What's your take? The Revival last night doing a little comedy. What do you think about that? I didn't even know that they they were clowns. I thought they were professional wrestlers.
You know what? I'm not even gonna say it. You know what, King Lucky, you take this one away.
All right. Go ahead. I guess I'll be the bad guy, if you will. I don't like it. I think it's
What do you mean I'll be the bad guy, if you will? You'll be the fucking smark like everyone else out there. Oh, they're burying them. Oh.
Yeah, they are burying
Jesus
them.
Christ. Yeah,
but I thought
I
thought it was funny. Maybe I'm like a child and I was looking at it as a child, but I thought it was pretty funny.
I thought it was funny that the Usos put a fake label on some Cantoon hair product and then put it down the pants of the Revival.
It could be. You know
Explain to me how you're getting buried when you're actually getting TV time.
Yeah, you are getting TV time. That's
true.
That is true. However, I think that everybody knows that these guys, along with the club and other talent, are close to the end of their contracts. And so...
Everyone knows?
Everyone knows.
How's that?
All right, it's rumored on Raja.com.
There you go.
But...
hey, can I get one of those blue shirts, Blue Raja? Because... you know, the gentleman we had on the show the other day told me he said you got the plug for all the Raja blue Raja shirts or whatever. I saw something like that.
But you know, it's pretty well known that, you know, a lot of these contracts are coming up.
Yeah.
You know, I just watched the interview earlier with Rhino talking about how he turned down a whole lot of money. His contract's coming up because creatively he still wants to go. He wants to wrestle. And I think that's where a lot of these guys are at. The Revival, the club, you know, the list goes on. So they're looking at the opportunities that they can get from other organizations, be it a AEW, ROH, New Japan.
So why is this a big deal then?
It's a big deal because now...
Why?
Well, I think here's the thing. Now you have all these different avenues that the guys can work.
Right. Gallows, Anderson, the Revival. Who the fuck cares? You're acting like the Hardy Boys are going to AEW, very respected and, you know, a brand name. You're talking about guys that only certain people fucking know about.
Yeah, very true. But I think there's a huge
How did it work out
market.
for Gallows when he went to TNA?
Yeah, it didn't. It didn't.
That's what I'm saying. There's y'all, all of you people who think that.
What do you mean? Hold on. What do you mean, you people?
Oh no, I'm saying specifically.
What do you mean, you people?
I'm saying you people. You fucking blue people. Fuck, man.
In Smartsville.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. The fact of the matter is that you guys do this whole like, oh, Vince is so worried because he's going to lose the Revival to AEW.
Well, I didn't say that.
If the Revival equals ratings, they would already be drawing ratings, ass.
So here's the thing, too. I mean, why did he shut down Undertaker from doing StarCast? Why did he shut down Ric Flair?
Because he can.
He's shutting down everybody from appearing at anything that's not attached to WWE.
But that's
what
ego.
he would
that don't
usually
mean worried.
do.
Just, yeah.
I don't know.
Look,
I think Vince may be shaking in his boots a little bit now.
I'm going to disagree with you because I always believe one thing about Vincent Kennedy McMahon. He has a brown paper bag, and in that paper bag is 0 fucks that he ever gives. He cares not at all. His reality is what we dream about.
Simon,
he cares not.
Hold on, Simon Street. Hold on. We got a call here, and we got a special guest. Let's run this commercial right quick. Let's get to our special guest. Hold that thought, and after our guest, we'll go right back to it.
Vegas BadBoyz of Podcasting will be back in just a moment.
Hey guys, I know that sometimes here, well, all the time here on the show, we give shit to Raja.com for, their predictions and the love that King Lucky has of reading Raja.com's information. But they have something that's really cool that is coming up here on May 23rd. Now, if you're coming in for StarCast that weekend, for the 24th, 25th, 26th, Memorial Day weekend, 23rd is Thursday. And Thursday, right here in Vegas at the FSW Arena, which is 6035 Harrison Drive in Las Vegas, there is a show, the first show, being done by Raja.com. And it's going to feature some great wrestling. Justin Gabriel, Damian Drake, Mikey O'Shea, Chris Bay. There are going to be a lot of great, young, talented, thirsty wrestlers, guys you've heard of, on this card. It's going to be great. It is We Are One. It's May 23rd. All ages, $32 are the ticket prices, but you can upgrade to VIP for $15 more. The VIP doors will be at 6:30 p.m. and the main doors at 7 p.m. We urge you to go down there. It supports local wrestling because a lot of these guys are local and it has a tie-in with FSW. But also, it is Raja.com's first ever live wrestling event. These guys have been around for a while. So please go ahead, support them, help them out, and definitely get your tickets now. You can go online at Raja.com and check out the ticket information. And we hope to see you guys there.
Now back to Vegas, bad boys of podcasting.
Okay, we are back. We took a little bit of a break, and it was an important break because we have somebody very, very legendary on the line.
Legendary.
Yes, very legendary. And before I say who you are, I want all the youngies to listen up.
The youngies.
And I want everyone in the indie to take notes, because this is very important. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you the Navajo Warrior.
Hey.
How you doing, man?
I am doing wonderful. How are y'all doing?
We're doing good.
great.
We're doing. We want to thank you for coming on our show, and we're gonna have a lot of fun tonight.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it. I'm thank you for having me.
No doubt.
All right. So, Steve, right off, this is King Lucky. I just got, one question for you. What got you into the business?
Oh, what got me into the business of professional wrestling? Let's see. It was a dark, stormy night. No, just kidding. I was a kid. Growing up playing sports, football, baseball, all the little league stuff, and then I saw my grandfather was really into watching wrestling, and him and my great uncle were sitting in front of the TV one day watching it, and I happened to walk by and see the TV going, and I was like, "What is this?" So I sat down with them and watched it, and then next thing you know, I wanted to see when it was going to be on again, and then that's what got me hooked. Just seeing the first images of it on television.
Do you remember who the first images were?
Honestly, it was Lucha Libre Wrestling. So it was a wrestler by the name, and I was a big Kiss fan, like the band.
Yeah.
And there was a wrestler named Kiss, and he was on the TV, and so that's what got my attention. And I was like, "Holy cow, that's Kiss!" Like he's got this mask, kind of looks like the demon, and so it was cool.
Wow.
That's what my first glimpse of wrestling was that.
Nice.
So let me ask you, further on down the road, you wear the war paint and the face paint is really always done up during your matches. Is that where that came from?
No, some people think that though, just because it is the black and white, like the band Kiss. But honestly, the makeup, the war paint idea came about when Rick Bassman, who was running UPW, Ultimate Pro Wrestling in California, wanted to change my character to become heel. So when I was there, I was a baby face, and I wore the feathered headdress and the whole getup. And then Rick said, I want to turn you heel. So I just started remembering stories that my grandfather would tell me about the what they call skinwalkers, Navajo legend. These are like bad bad people, they're bad medicine men, that kind of stuff, and they have the ability to shapeshift and change into different animals, and so they wear, usually wear the animal skins. So
Wow.
the picture in my mind of him telling me these stories was the paint design that I did on my face, and then of course I started wearing the wolf skin headdress and just changing my whole look, and so it kind of helped because I was told by someone that's like, hey, do you want to be like every other Native American wrestler that's come before you, or do you want to be your own person? Do you want to lead, or do you want to keep following? And so I took that to heart, and I changed everything, and so it was a big change for me.
And it was strategically one of the craziest things, because Rick was a genius when it came to that, because you were so babyface, and the same thing happened with Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe was so over as a babyface, and I remember he walked into class one day to start teaching us, and all of a sudden we see he has blonde hair, and we're like, no. He's like, yep, I'm going heel. And we're like, no shit. So that was the same thing when Rick's like, yeah, paint yourself. It's like his mind, I think sometimes he doesn't get the credit that he should get because of the fact that it was such a flash in the pan. It was like UPW was quick, simple, and there was so much that he contributed, but yet he doesn't get that credit. And you're a great example with that, because look, all these years later, you've got one hell of a solid character that's very recognizable.
No, thank you. Yeah, Rick totally deserves, credit for a lot of the things that he's done. He is as far back as, the Ultimate Warrior and Sting, when he was managing that power team. I don't know the exact name, but it was the power team,
right?
Or USA, and at the head of that was Rick Bassman, and then to go on and create UPW and discover people like John Cena and Samoa Joe, and guys that not all of them came through his training camp, but they came to UPW to
Miz
to be groomed. And, the Miz, and there was so many Lisa Marie, Victoria, and so it was a who's who of talent that later on Joey Ryan went through there. Christopher Daniels, Frank Kazarian. I mean, the list goes on and on of great talent that have gone through there and gone on to bigger things.
And speaking of that talent, I'll just throw this out there because it was a good lead up right there. Two of my favorite guys who went through UPW at that time were the Ballard brothers. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, coming up here, you have the Ballard brothers on a show that's coming up.
Yes. The Ballard brothers, they are my favorite team to go up against. I've wrestled against the Ballards in one form or another. Like I wrestled my first match against a Ballard in a singles match back in 1998.
Wow.
In California, and I think they were pretty new then. I think that was like their first year.
Yeah.
And then I come back to the next show, and then there's two of them. I was like, holy cow, there are two of you? So I had no idea. I had no idea that they were twins. And then, but then since then, I've wrestled against the Ballards in tag team matches, starting in the late 90s and then into the 2000s, into the 2010s. So we're looking at, a long span of time that we've been battling each other. And it's been not only in, California, Arizona, New Mexico, Montana, we've, multiple states. And then we've taken it into Japan, into Korea, Guam. So it's like, different countries, so it's that feud that I like to call our indie version of the Rock and Roll Express versus Midnight Express.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Good way to put it.
And you guys are doing the 10th anniversary show coming up here on May 18th, right?
Yes. So May 18th, I had Impact Zone Wrestling in Arizona that I started running in 2000, and now, and then we ran until 2009, and so now we're coming up on the 10-year anniversary of when we closed down the promotion.
Okay.
So we're doing a big reunion show on May 18th, and we've got the Ballard brothers coming in, Hollywood Yates, who was another Impact Zone guy that went on to UPW as well,
Yeah.
and then on to American Gladiators.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
and Little Nate, who was also at UPW.
Nate, yeah.
So we've got IZW was kind of like the Arizona version of UPW,
Yeah.
because we were taking all these guys that wanted to come through and wrestle in Arizona, wanted to come to Impact Zone Wrestling. And when I had Justin Roberts helping me with the booking and putting the shows together, we just we're like, let's make this big. And same thing, Miz. We did the first ever MTV Real World versus MTV Tough Enough. So this is back when Tough Enough was on MTV, and we had Kenny King. Yeah, Kenny King versus The Miz. So
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, so May 18th, we're not only is it going to be like a reunion of talent that came through Impact Zone Wrestling, we're helping raise money for a good friend of ours, Jerry Gray, who is a wrestler out of Florida and wrestled throughout the NWA and WCW, did some WWF, but also became a promoter, and he helped myself and a lot of my guys get exposure and get work and get hone their craft on his shows. So he's battling cancer now, and
oh no,
Man.
so the bills is if anyone's ever had a family member or gone through this themselves, they know how quickly the bills just start mounting up, and not only is he having a hard time kind of keeping up with the bills, he takes care of his mother, so it's so we're just doing everything we can to try to help him out. And we've even got the newest Hall of Fame member, the Honky Tonk Man, coming in to help as well. So it should be a good time.
Yeah.
So Steve, this is Street. Looking back at your career, the one thing that I'm almost a little jealous of is a lot of the ring names you have donned. I'm gonna, for the listeners who may not know, I'm gonna stay off a few, and then I'll ask my question. You have Ghost Dancer, Iceman, Jimmy Cruz, Navajo Kid, Sean Dakota, and Steve Gray Eyes. Which out of all of these names do you hold kind of close to your heart, or did you think that it was closely relatable to what you were going for?
All right. So I think the one that's I want to say it's the Navajo Warrior. But let me get back to the names you listed. Mm-hmm. I wrestled under all of those names except for Jimmy Cruz. I don't know where that. I saw that on Wikipedia. Wow. But I was like, that's not. Yeah, I never wrestled with Jimmy Cruz. But the others, yes.
Well, don't feel bad because that wasn't the one I was jealous about.
But the Ghost Dancer was before UPW, when I was as the Navajo Kid. I was trying out working as a heel with different promotions, and I used that name just because it seemed like it was more of a heelish name, instead of the Navajo Kid, who's going to be, that's going to strike fear into the hearts of no one. So
Right.
But and then Sean Dakota. Funny story about that is I get booked to wrestle with the WWF as preliminary wrestler, going out there and losing to the big stars, and I'm like, all right, what's your name? I was like, Sean Dakota. It wasn't, there wasn't a lot of thought into it. I was like, I don't even know. I didn't even use my real first name, instead of like Steve Dakota, but just Sean Dakota seemed to like work. And then, but yeah, the funny story about the Navajo Warrior, is I was wrestling a dark match for WWE, and Howard Finkel announced me, and the Navajo Kid, I come out, wrestle the match, win the match, and he announces the winner of the match, the Navajo Warrior. And the first thing I thought was he got my name wrong. But then the second thing that went through my head was, oh, I like this. You know, I like the name. And so, you know, that's a funny little trivia, tidbit right there is that Howard Finkel's the one that actually gave me the name of that.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That's an awesome story, man.
What hasn't Howard Finkel done for this business?
Yeah.
So, which name were you jealous of? I want to hear this.
Oh, I was jealous of the freaking Ghostwalker. I just thought like when I heard that name, I was like, my goodness, like that is like a name that could either possibly strike fear or stealth. Like, someone has to keep in mind a stealth. Like you're not gonna know you'd have been hit until the ghost appears and you see him leaving. So I just thought that was just an awesome name, and I really was jealous. But yeah, Jimmy Cruz, I'm putting the source on notice. Fandom, you are on notice. You made me look bad on my podcast. If you're listening, fix your shit.
Plus, that means now we're going to have to find Jimmy Cruz. So my job just got hard.
Find out who Jimmy Cruz is.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. Hey, Steve, so knowing that you're a huge Hulk Hogan fan, where did that come about? And do you have a favorite Hulkamania moment?
So the way it came about is, say it was about early 1983. The AWA used to come on television here in Arizona, and so of course I would watch it. And they had this. They were advertising that they were going to be at the Veterans Memorial Coliseum, and one of the matches was going to be Hulk Hogan versus Jerry Blackwell in a $15,000 body slam challenge.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
So, and then the main event was a big battle royal. So you had Andre the Giant coming in. You had Jesse the Body Ventura. Like just so many people that before they went over to the WWF. And so I beg my mom, please take us to the show. So she gets tickets for myself, my little brother, and my grandfather, and she takes us to the Coliseum. And I couldn't tell you who the first match was or the second match or any of the matches before Hulk Hogan came out. They were great. I was excited. I'm watching wrestling live, and but then as soon as that music started, Eye of the Tiger.
Yeah.
And then this big blonde figure just comes bursting out of this curtain, and the crowd just goes nuts. And that's when I got the goosebumps. And just watching the way he would, make the motion like I'm going to body slam him over my head. And, it's all those little things that he would do that would just make people go crazy. And it's like you had people cheering in the matches before, but they weren't on their feet like they were for Hulk Hogan.
Right.
And that is what really made me want to become a wrestler. Finding it and watching it and enjoying it. It was one thing, but then having that switch turn on and say, man, I want to do this. And that's what did it for me. So,
yeah, that's awesome. I too, from the age of 5, have been a Hulkamaniac. I was flipping through the channels as well, and then that caught my eye. I saw him at the LA Coliseum, and it's the same thing that you're talking about. Like when he came through the curtain, it was just, I wanted to say my prayers and eat my vitamins. I mean, Hulkamania was just running through my veins. And so he is the reason why to this day that, I love the business, and I travel all over for it as a fan because of Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. So, he's one of those people that you're going to find a lot of not just wrestlers, but, fans that got into it because of Hulk Hogan and Hulkamania. And now to the second part of your question about like my favorite moment.
Yeah.
I want to say it was WrestleMania 3, just when he slammed Andre. It was one of those things. The largest indoor attendance record at the time, and all the hype behind it, and it was just electric. Watching it.
And let me follow up on that one, because I know that WrestleMania 3 was such a big thing for me as well. And then WrestleMania 4 comes about, the next year with the rematch, but we get that little rematch in before. What did you feel when you saw the twin referees? Did it devastate you?
The amount of anger that was flowing through me. I was in I want to say junior high, maybe, and
Yeah.
I was on the wrestling team at the time, and so I get home from practice that night and watch it, and then the next day I'm like wanting to destroy everyone on the mat because
Yep.
of what I'm doing. The twin referees and that $1 Million Man, and, it was, yeah.
I felt, you know what?
It was something.
It's so funny that you said that because at that time I was on the junior wrestling teams. So I was about 11 years old or so at that time, and it was the same exact feeling. Like you got into the, we used to do Monday was the first day of the week. We do like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So after watching it Friday and getting in Monday, it was just like you never saw kids more rambunctious and just beating the shit out of each other because we all saw this and we're just like, this is impossible. What the hell is going on? No one got it, and it was just like, It was perfect. But again, that's the magic of wrestling. Do you see that when you wrestle at venues? Do you see that in the eyes of these kids, like that thrill and that passion and that almost that feeling that kids have that this is somehow real, but they know in the back of their mind that it's not that real in terms of they're not hurting each other on purpose? Do you see that today still in the eyes of the fans?
I do, but not as much. You're going to see the kids that are into every little thing that happens, and to me, that's what when I get in the ring, I want the fans, especially the kids, to have that feeling that I had when I would go.
Yeah.
And so I always strive for that, but I still do see it today. It's just not on that level that it was back then. And I think a lot of it has to do with the characters today, or lack of characters today. It's back then it was so cut and dry, black and white, good and evil.
Oh, right.
And now there's a lot of gray area. It's like we're not really good guys or bad guys.
Steve,
athletes,
Steve, do you think, and this is something that is very just kind of interesting in culture in general now, when we were growing up back then in the 80s, it was about good versus evil, and it was cut and dry, like you said. But now it almost seems like it's the character is not necessarily based on what the character themselves believe, but if the character is cool. Like there's a cool factor now, and we're gonna get behind the popular guy because everyone else is behind that guy, and we like that guy because he's cool. Oh wait, he's going against. Oh, this guy's cool now. Is it just that almost? I hate to say the word, but fickleness of our society moving so quick?
Oh yeah, I mean, just it's like society changes and wrestling changes and sports themselves change, and so I do see that. Just because there was, especially when that period hit of the Attitude Era and the NWO, and to where it was like, these guys are bad, but they're cool, so you like them, because they're rebellious and they go against the grain. So it's not as much that way anymore, but still there, to where it's like, they're gonna gravitate towards the guy that looks cool or has a cool entrance, or
or the merch is cool now. I think the NWO totally blew that, into the just like atmosphere of like, hey, you know what? If the merch is cool, and then Austin, it was like simple shirt.
That's what I'm gonna say.
Merch is cool. Yeah,
perfect example of like a rebel fight against the system, and I think I think the Attitude Era kind of springboard, kind of what y'all were talking about is, they want someone that vibes well and meshes well with what they like.
Yes, I agree.
Another question I have for you. We were talking when we met over Mania weekend about, how your family is it's a family business. Your woman's in, and now the girls are into it as well too.
Yeah, so my wife Michelle, she wrestles as Morgan. She's, I've known her since I want to say it's been like 2002, and we've been married. We're going to have our third anniversary coming up
Congrats.
of marriage.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And so she's, in the business. She wrestles, and then we have 3 daughters. And our middle daughter Stevie was the first one to show that interest and want to pursue it. And so she was in high school at the time, so I really had her scale it back and just, okay, well, I'm going to get you into a ring. I'm going to see if you actually really want to do this after she takes a few bumps, and then we'll go from there. And so she did, and she continued to want to. So I said, all right, focus on your schooling first. So now she just completed her freshman year of college at Grand Canyon University. So she's focusing on school, but still has the times that we'll go get in the ring and work on the wrestling. And then my oldest daughter, Alyssa, now recently started to show interest and get in the ring and start to roll around and start to take bumps. So it's just funny how they're picking up on what we do, what my wife and I do, and they're finding an interest in it and wanting to try it. So I'm never going to tell my daughters that they cannot do something that I have done myself. I will encourage them, but I will also let them know it's not all sunshine and rainbows. There's a lot of bad that comes with the good, and kind of hopefully help them navigate their way through it. And then our little one, Keely, she's 8. So funny story about her is one night we were at the ring just training. So Michelle had my daughters in the ring, so the 2 oldest were in the ring with Michelle, and Keely's like, Dad, look. So she had me come around to the side of the ring. She comes running around and does a front flip bump onto a crash pad at a running start, and the front flip lands flat on her back and looked perfect. Like, oh no, you're too natural at this.
That's awesome.
So yeah, but yeah, all 3 of the girls are really enjoy watching it. They aren't at that stage yet to where that most wrestlers go through when they're learning, and they start to kind of pick it apart and watch it more for, oh, why did they do this, or maybe I can do that. They still watch it and enjoy it, but they'll still have their moments though where they'll see a move and like, oh, I think I'm gonna try that one. So
yeah,
it's great.
That's so awesome.
So Steve, usually sometimes these guys allow me to introduce a segment with some of the interviews. So I want to take the opportunity to have you participate in this segment. Now, we're not going to ask you to divulge any dark secrets or, do some kind of crazy audio challenge. But what I will tell you is the name of the segment is Name Your Oh Shit Moment. Could be any time, whether it's in your personal life or times with you being in the ring to where you just experienced something that was just so kind of out there and just out of nowhere. You were like, oh, shit.
I've had quite a few of those. But let's see. One that sticks out of my mind, since earlier we were talking about Jerry Gray and helping raise money for Jerry. I want to say it was like 1999. We were somewhere in Indiana wrestling for Jerry Gray. Jerry Gray had this big show, and on the card he had the Honky Tonk Man, and he had Jake the Snake Roberts, and he had the Bushwhackers, and I wrestled Tracy Smothers that night. So it was like it was a great card. So many people, and the story's been told. Honky Tonk Man's told the story. Jerry's told the story. So I'm not really talking out of turn, but it's just one of those things that, it was a definite oh shit moment for me. Jake was not in a good state at the time.
Okay.
And he was what I saw myself sitting in the locker room. There was a local wrestler who brought his boys in to kind of say hi to the guys, and so when they walked in, the boys were deaf, So their dad was signing to them, and he was making the sign of a snake. That there was a snake in the bin. So Jake grabs the snake and brings it over and tries to put it around the boys, and you could tell the boys are terrified.
Oh my
And so
God.
as he's doing it, the snake nips at him and bites him in the hand. So of course he throws the snake down, and now he starts to beat on this thing, pour beer on it.
Right for the kids.
The boys, so the dad takes the kids out right away, right? And then next thing you know, Jake he's breaking light bulbs, and he's punching holes in walls, and he's having a meltdown basically. And so a lot of the guys start to clear out of the locker room. The promoter comes in, Jerry comes in, and they start to get into it. And Jerry basically grabs Jake in a bear hug and to try to get him to calm down. And then the next thing you know, it goes from a fight to "I'm sorry, I love you, and I respect you so much." And, let me show you. I'm going to show you how much I respect you. He takes his bottle, and he then proceeds to urinate in the bottle.
No.
This is Jake Robinson urinating in the bottle.
Wow.
Now I'm ready to get up. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Sitting right next to me is Honky Tonk Man. And it's one of those, it's almost like a scene out of the movie. As soon as I start to get up out of the seat, he pushes me right back down. And he leans over, he goes, "You're not going to stay for the floor show, kid?" So now I'm I don't know what to do. And now he's like, "This is how much I respect you. I respect you more than God." And it was crazy. And then he drinks the bottle.
Wow.
And that's when I just finally, I'm like, "Oh, I'm out."
Yeah.
I'm out. And then there was more, after that, because I walked out, and then, you hear the stories later, because there was a window that went into that dressing room, and Bushwhacker Luke was peeking in the window and giving play-by-play to all the other guys in the hallway. What's going on?
Wow.
But,
So the
but yeah,
moral
that
of the
was
story is... Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh shit moment for me. That was a definite oh shit moment for me, because I'd never seen anything or even heard of anything that crazy before, and so yeah, that was it.
So for all of you, I don't know what Impact called them, you youngers.
Youngies.
The youngies.
Yeah.
If a man is proceeding to say how much he loves somebody and pisses in a bottle, it is probably a great idea for you to immediately vacate the premises, because it's only going to get worse from there.
It's not going to get any better from there.
No. That was a great story, man. Thank you.
What's even more remarkable about this now is putting it in context with what you said before, and that is WrestleMania 3. So now you have Honky Tonk Man and Jake Roberts, who wrestled on that card when you were a kid.
Yes.
Wow.
Sitting in this room. 16 years later.
Yes. And hearing Honky Tonk Man go, "No, Jake, not the piss. Don't drink the piss."
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah.
But yeah,
Man.
was definitely a crazy moment.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, Steve, switching gears, you're pretty important in this wrestling video game thing, right? W2K. What got you started in doing the WWE games?
Oh, well, I wouldn't say important, but I started.
You're being modest.
I started working on the WWE video games. Back in 2006, there was a studio in Arizona called Rainbow Studios, which was part of THQ, and they were starting to do the motion capture for the game, and their studio was in Phoenix. So, back to my Impact Zone Wrestling promotion, the motion capture directors came by, watched the show, and then wanted to speak with me afterwards, and then asked if I'd be interested in doing motion capture.
Wow.
And for those that don't know what motion capture is, it's where you wear the suit, and it's got the tracking little reflective balls that go wherever your joints bend, and then you have the cameras that will pick the infrared cameras that will pick up the movement. So everything that you're doing in the ring, or whatever motion capture you're doing, shows up on a screen, but looks more like a skeleton rather than a person.
Right.
So like a stick, almost like a stick figure. And so that's when I started doing anything with video games, and it was as a motion capture person, just doing the motion capture. And then it went from there to the point to where I was kind of helping the director with some of the moves, because in motion capture at that time, we always had to start from a T pose. It's where you're standing with your arms out like a T.
Yeah.
And then they say action, and then you go into the move you're going to do. Well, with wrestling, there are some moves you cannot do from a total standstill.
Right.
Momentum,
Totally unnatural.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I started making suggestions, and we could try it this way or that way. And then next thing you know, I'm asked if I wanted to come on as a consultant, and I sure, why not? And I started doing that. And then I was still wrestling, and I got to know the guys that worked on the game, and I'm working still, the independent dates, and still working with the WWF shows, TVs whenever they're out on the West Coast. And there was going to be an event. Now we're into 2008, and there was going to be a pay-per-view in Phoenix, and then I think Raw in Tucson, I think, and then SmackDown taping was going to be somewhere else. But anyway, I'm booked for those dates. And so on the Saturday night before the pay-per-view, a lot of the guys and girls were in town, and we all kind of got together in Scottsdale at this club, and we're hanging out. And the guy that, one of the guys that I knew from the video game came walking in, and he said, "Are you going to be at the pay-per-view tomorrow?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Are you going to be in Tucson?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "All right, well, remind me, I need to talk to you." I'm like, "Okay." I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, "Why do I need to remind you if you're, But anyway, so we fast forward to Tuesday now, or Monday in Tucson, and he comes up to me, he goes, "Did I talk to you at all on Saturday?" It's like, "Oh yeah, I was drinking a little, sorry," But anyway, he said, "Come with me. Come, let me show you what I'm doing." And he was doing scans of the wrestlers that they're a lot different than what we do now, but it was the scans that they would do to help create the models of the wrestlers in the video game.
Yeah.
And so he was showing me what he was doing that day, and then after he showed me that, he asked me, he goes, "How would you like to do this?" I'm like, "What? Sit and get scanned?" He's like, "No, my job, like what I do, And I was like, "Well, what do you mean?" And he wanted to be. His name was David, and David wanted to, create games. He was in this position that I'm in now, which is a licensing manager, but he had an opportunity to move on to a new game and actually work on the creative process of the game.
Right.
So he, THQ didn't want to let him go without a replacement.
Yeah.
And he thought that I would be a good replacement for him because I know how, to work with the talent, how to, basically the ins and outs of backstage.
Right. Yeah.
And so we discussed it for a while, and then I thought about it, and like I said, this is 2008, and I'm like, yeah, I definitely need to think about what I'm going to be doing, and if I'm not going to be wrestling forever, I want to, a normal job. And it's still involved with wrestling.
Yeah.
So, 9 interviews later, I had to go through interviews, like separate interviews at THQ, and then go over to WWE and in Stamford and interview there. And then I ended up getting the position, and I started in January of 2009.
Wow.
So, yeah. And so basically the title is, licensing manager, but the job itself is, it varies. It goes from, getting scans, shooting reference photos, voiceover recordings. Then when it gets into the appearances, or promotions of the game. So anything and everything that has to do with the wrestlers and the talent themselves, I'm hands-on with.
Yeah.
So
you're typically a talent producer.
Yeah. You can say that.
And you're really successful at it because we've seen the finished products, and I can speak for myself. I'm very happy with what I've had so far. Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for playing the game.
Steve, I play the game every year, and funny thing is you actually made it into the game. Was that surreal for you?
Oh, it was. I mean, the first time I was put in, it was like I wasn't in the game, but my makeup, my face paint design, and some of my gear logos and things like that were in the game. So when you created a wrestler, you can
literally your create mode was literally you.
yeah, and all the pieces were there that you could use. But then I can't remember if it was 2K15, where with Mike Tyson, the whole Stone Cold. You played through Steve Austin's
360
career. Yeah, so you're playing through his career, and then you get to the point to where it was the match of Stone Cold versus Shawn Michaels, and the special referee was Mike Tyson.
Right.
Now, we've had Mike Tyson in the games before, but that year, Mike Tyson was in the UFC game. Mm-hmm. So we couldn't license him to be in the game. So we needed to do something with this special referee. And I didn't know this was happening at the time until I saw the game when they were, testing it and doing different cutscenes. And I was like, holy crap, that's me.
So you totally didn't pitch this to them.
I didn't even know. Like I said, I didn't know until it was already done and in there, and I saw it. I thought it was crazy. And then to see things online, it's like, who's this? There's so many different, how things are online. Who's this Asian guy that they have as or who is this Samoan? I'm one of those multicultural or culturally ambiguous people like this.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, that was surreal though to see that. And then if you play the game now, I'm one of the referees. So when you you can choose your referees, and they have the world class referee, which is myself, and so the referee's in all black.
How awesome!
Black pants, black shirt, and then
So we'll make sure not to hit that ref whenever we get upset at the game. I tend to get upset when I have to play Lucky in this game because he finds every exploit cheat ever.
Steve, let me tell you, going back, you're talking 18 years I've been playing this game, and we used to get together as a group of friends, and everybody seems to think that I always find the cheats in the game. I'm just that damn good.
No, you cheated.
Cheater.
I used to whoop Impact up and down the block, and then now I'm beating Rome left and right.
Listen, you found a flaw in the game.
He found lag when he whooped my ass.
Yeah. He would use Brock and just go in on me, and I couldn't get away from him at all. I mean, like, come on, man, at some point you gotta let me free. He wouldn't let me free, but all my power going down. Yeah, he used to cheat, but
that's still the champ, Steve. That's what it boils down to.
For right now, wait till October comes. Wait till October. I'm taking it from you.
After this, we're gonna get on the game, and I'll take them all out.
Oh, we're going to videotape it, and you're going to see your ass get handed to you.
So, Steve, speaking of the game, and we talked to Daryl, DJ Impact here, grew up with Brian Williams, and they go way back, and we talked to Brian, and apparently there was one night that you were driving and you guys ended up in Mexico?
Yes. So Brian and I were in Laredo, Texas. For a SmackDown in Laredo, Texas, and we were leaving the show, and we took a wrong turn. It's dark.
You said wait, hold on.
Took a wrong turn in Mexico.
Wait. Wait, Steve.
What?
Let's start with Brian's side of the story, and that wasn't we took a wrong turn.
Oh, well, yeah, I was driving.
Yeah.
I took the wrong turn. Okay.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
and you've been up and down those roads how many times out here in the all these years?
Yeah, too many to be making that kind of mistake. It was, I took this turn, and next thing you know, we're going down a dirt road, and it's dark, pitch dark, and then these, lights start flashing, and it's like, wait, I don't think we're supposed to be here. Next thing you know, we turn around, and we're passing the border entry back into the United States. I'm like, how did we end up in Mexico?
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
So, I actually have a really good question that I want to ask you. As a Native American wrestler, do you find yourself being, a representative for other, natives that want to get into the business, and they want to, get in and they want to know your backstory? Do you have those opportunities or interactions?
Actually, I do, and I've been lucky to have those. Where they'll come up and ask advice, or the craziest thing is, to me, I still feel like I've only been doing this a short amount of time, but then when I look back how many years, it's crazy. But to hear some of them like, oh yeah, I used to watch you when I was a kid, and so it's pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, there are a couple right off the top of my head that stand out. That there was a Coyote out of Oklahoma, who used to team with Desi Dorada and with Kyle Hawk as the Aero Club. And,
keep America native again.
Exactly. And so they would ask me different questions and like advice on certain things. A lot of it is how do we represent our culture without insulting our own culture? Because no matter what you do, someone is not going to be happy.
Right.
Someone will always look at it in a totally different light than what you're trying to present it in. And so a lot of the things that I've been talking to the younger Native American wrestlers about is, just staying true to yourself and true to what you're portraying. And you're going to have negativity. There's no doubt about it. It's going to happen. It's just how to deal with it and not let it get to you personally, So
Right.
Yeah.
And
but yeah, so there was there's the Aero Club, and then there was Wild Horse out of Las Vegas, and others that I've come across, and it's great to see that it's that they want to stick with a character that represents their culture and not shy away from it or just try to be something else, So I really like that.
And along those lines, and this is going to be one of those questions that's kind of difficult to answer because there's no real answer to it because we haven't seen it yet. But we just saw Kofi win the title. Do we see someone who is Native American win the WWE title at some point?
Oh yeah, I would definitely see that would happen in the future, but there just needs to be that star, that Native American wrestler that's got that star power.
That isn't like an Italian from New York who they threw on the feathers and
exactly. He was the most popular Native American wrestler. I would honestly say he was the most popular Native American wrestler and was not Native American.
Yep.
It's crazy. But I mean, Chief Wahoo McDaniel was right up there though with Jay Strongbow as far as popularity. But but I think Strongbow is the one that everyone from my generation and the older generation think of, and then Tatanka, and then
Now, along those lines of mentoring, you've come across so many people, and that's one of the best things. Like I said to you before, when we were kind of chatting a little bit over text, it's Christopher Daniels and you. Like, everyone who's worked the West Coast over the last 25 years has encountered you guys in some way, either as in-ring or training or as a mentor. Have, over those, number of years now that you've been doing this, has there been a person or people that have stuck out as you're proud to see them almost like kids go on and achieve success?
Oh yeah, there are a few, like ones that I actually trained myself. Like Mike Knox.
Yeah.
Who went on. Luther Reigns, Horseshoe.
Oh, yeah.
He was one that I trained. Before he went on to the power plant. And so it's like those always are going to be closest to my heart because they're the ones that from day one came to me and started with me. And then Hollywood, and then once he went on to American Gladiators, it was one of those things where it was like it's amazing. And it came down to a point too to where he was kind of like juggling between, do I go wrestling or do I go with this Gladiators thing that's really they're knocking on the door, and I'm like, take what's answer the door. And but and then from the UPW time, wrestling there, like when I see Samoa Joe on television now, it's like the Miz, because I would always have the Miz come into Arizona and wrestle on our Impact Zone wrestling shows, and Joe, and then John Cena. It's funny that a lot of these guys, especially John, like John Cena, riding down the road, in my passenger seat in the middle of the reservation, and it's like, going and learning your craft. This is, when I brought him on the reservation tours, this is where you're going to learn how to wrestle in front of different kinds of crowds, and not the same UPW crowd that you wrestle in front of every month. This is going to be something different.
That's something that, I don't think fans really understand that with John, because it feels over the years that John has become such a, such a big sensation in terms of crossing over and stuff. And people have their opinions of him as a wrestler and as a character, but they don't realize that this guy had the absolute passion and desire, and he's not bullshitting when he says that he loves this business, because I saw it firsthand with him. And as you said, traveling down the road with him, doing stuff like reservation shows, he took the time to learn and to get in front of different crowds and to develop that character, especially coming from the Prototype, which was such a one-dimensional handle that they gave him. But you could see, I remember the whole thing with him is that when Pritchard came into UPW, I remember the thing is Pritchard just said he has it. And that was it. It was like, he's got it. And that's when we all kind of scratch our head and go, hey, okay, what is it? And I think this is what you always try to find as a performer, as an entertainer, is what is it? What is my it factor? And if you can find that, then you're successful. And sometimes it's not, necessarily in front of the camera. Sometimes it's behind the scenes. Sometimes it is as a mentor or as a trainer. And it's important for, fans to realize that, this guy's putting in his dues, and he had that it factor. But a guy like you also had an it factor, and it's carried you to just such a respect, because everyone in this business, there's not a bad word I've ever heard for all these people I've known, for some 20 plus years. It's always been Navajo Warrior. Great guy. Unbelievable guy. And I think that just says volumes about who you are as a, as a person who's worked their ass off in this business. And, we just want you to know that you're appreciated beyond belief, even if you, might not think so or are modest about it. You are definitely one of the, the top guys in this industry in terms of impacting everyone's lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your name comes up all the time.
Thank you. That honestly, that means a lot to me. When when I started in wrestling, way back, 1990, it was a different time. It was a different, just everything was so different. There was no internet. There was no, how do you find out how to become a wrestler? Those kinds of things. You had to know somebody to be able to find a way to go to a place to learn. And when my trainer trained me, Steve Gatorwolf, he wasn't the best wrestler. He wasn't the best trainer as far as the wrestling went, but he would spend so much time telling me about being a good person and never really swaying on your values, because in any kind of business, you're going to have people that are going to try to sway you away from what you know is right. And it's not just wrestling, it's anything. And so he was always pushing that on me, to where it's like, don't ever change who you are. And so I always wanted to make sure that I carried myself as well as I could, and be respectful to people, because everyone that's in wrestling, since we're talking about wrestling, everyone that's in this business or wants to be in this business has a love and a passion for it, just like I do, and just like I did. So it's like, I'm never going to try to discount anyone's feelings. Because, you see certain guys and it's like, yes, that guy has it. Or you see someone walk in like, that person should not be getting in the wrestling ring. They're going to hurt themselves. And I would never tell them to give up on their dreams, but I would definitely be honest with them and tell them it's going to be a lot harder for them,
right,
than it would be for that other person, So, but yeah, I mean, it's all about just respecting yourselves and respecting everyone else that you come in contact with, and because you're part of a fraternity, you're part of a family.
Yep.
You're going to see these people down the road, or you're going to spend a lot of time with them on the road. And why would you wouldn't want to spend time with someone that you can't stand,
right?
Yep.
So.
And do you think, really quick, let me get this in, because you made a really good point. Sometimes you don't have the ability in the ring, but do you think, for people out there who might be listening, who might be thinking about wrestling, or is there anyone that comes to mind that you might have come across over the years, that you see that maybe the athleticism isn't there, but the mind for the business is there, the creative mind might be there? Would you encourage that creative mind? Has there been anyone that might have had that sense that you saw and said, you know what, why don't you try running with this?
I've seen people like that, and I like to encourage that. I don't know if it's so much that this person didn't have the ability, because he never, I don't think, wanted to wrestle, but Justin Roberts. Justin reached out to me, high school kid in Chicago, calling me up because he was going to be coming to Arizona to go to school. He was going to be going to the U of A in Tucson. And he was asking if there were any wrestling trainers or promoters or any of that in Arizona. And he would call my house and leave messages. And I was so bad about calling people back. Because I was horrible about calling people back. And it's not like now where you can just text someone,
Right.
It's so much easier where you just, hey, text them, what can I do for you? And it's so much easier. But anyway, I didn't return his call, but then we were on an event together in Bullhead City, Arizona, at this big biker rally, and it was Dale Gagne's AWA, and so it was this big super clash, and Justin was the ring announcer for that night, and we met the night before the show, and we've been friends ever since.
Wow.
And Justin not only is a talented ring announcer, but he has a great mind for wrestling, for storytelling and putting ideas down on paper that will actually work. And so when we would run the Impact Zone wrestling shows, Justin and I would meet before the show and get out a napkin and write out the show for the night. And because at that time, we were running the shows every other Tuesday night. And so you're running bi-weekly. You got to keep some angles going and different things to keep people coming back,
Right.
And there might be a Tuesday night that, David might not make it. And then, well, he was in this angle last week. So what do we do? So it was one of those things where we would wait until we saw who showed up. Then we would sit down and we would write out the show, and it would continue, and certain things would continue on, and other things, well, we'd skip it this week, and that other person would have to sit out, and then we'd come back the next show, and then they would pick up on their angle. So it was great to have somebody like Justin helping me with that, because he would come up with such great ideas, and I just wish that he would have gotten an opportunity to do more of that when he was with WWE, instead of just ring announcing, because he was so good at the social media, at the promoting the events. Some of the first people that I ever saw using that social media platform to promote themselves or the events that they were doing were Justin and Zack Ryder and Shane Helms, guys like that they latched onto that so quickly and so well. And it's awesome to see that, because here I am like, oh, how do I do this? What? Okay. So, but, and then here they have, hundreds of thousands of followers, and then they just plug away at whatever it is that they got coming up, and people know about it. And, Justin would get in the ring and at a live event, and like, hey, the doors are about to open. Look, come to the show, and who knows, might have sold another few hundred tickets. It was, but yeah, he was one that really stuck out in my mind as somebody that, wasn't going to be a wrestler and couldn't only just be a ring announcer. He could be so much more than just a ring announcer.
And I think AEW is now going to benefit from that.
Oh, I believe so. Yeah.
So speaking of shows, you've got something coming up. We talked a little bit about it earlier. Why don't you go ahead and tell the folks that are listening what you've got coming up?
All right. Yes. So yeah, it all ties together, because talking about Justin and Impact Zone Wrestling and our shows that we would run. This is our big 10-year reunion show. So it's been 10 years since we ran the last show, and it's going to be in Tempe, Arizona on May 18th. And we're raising money to help our good friend Jerry Gray. So, Justin Roberts will be there. The Honky Tonk Man will be there. The Ballard Brothers, Hollywood Yates, Dom Vitale, Cowboy Jack Durango. Like so many guys that and girls that came through. My wife Morgan's going to be on the show. And
nice.
It's going to be a lot of fun. And we're hoping people will... It's getting a lot of buzz right now. Ticket sales are already going well, and
awesome.
in the Phoenix area, like, walk up is usually what happens. But right now, our advanced sales are going. So I just suggest that you get the tickets in advance, because it's a smaller venue. It only holds a certain amount of people, and once we're full, and we don't want to be turning people away. But
awesome. And for the people that are listening, where can they get tickets from?
So if you go to trashcityentertainment.com/events/IZW reunion, and then there's a link right on there when you go to that page, and you can order your tickets right there.
And for family entertainment, it is so affordable. I mean, you look at the general admission ticket, $12, $15 at the door, and then $20 for VIP. Why would you say no?
Exactly. And the VIP is sold out.
Sold out already.
Yeah, we have those general admission tickets. So back in the day, we used to have at the venue we used to run, we would have our little VIP section, and it was 2 like love seats. And so, you'd have a love seat, that's your VIP seating. So you could have, you and your friend, or, like 2 or 3 people sitting on this nice couch, and so we brought those back, and we've got, we've got the VIP couches, and like I said, those are sold out though, but it's going to be a fun time, and, for a great cause. And a lot of these guys are, still wrestling actively, and then you have some that you haven't seen in 9 years, and every every single person that's a part of this show is so excited to be doing it.
Excellent. Awesome. And really quick, we're going to wrap up here. When you think about your whole career and everything that you've done, and I want to say, in wrestling or in life, what is the one thing that sticks out to you as the thing that you would say, if I can pass on one thing to people, this is what I want to pass on?
That something that I want to pass on is that philosophy of that I was taught of, don't compromise your values for what you think someone else wants. Always, be that person that you are. Don't waver. Yeah. If it catches you heat with certain people, then they're the wrong people you want in your life.
Right.
You keep stay true to yourself.
Awesome. Well, Steve, it's been a pleasure, and I think DJ.
Yeah, it has been a pleasure, Steve. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, man, for doing the call with us. We have the ticket information. We're going to also post that on our social media sites as well, so we can go ahead and fill up this building for a great cause. So
thank you so much.
No problem. So again, that's it, and thank you much.
All right, have a great one, guys.
All right, tell us how shitty the promo was. Go ahead, Lucky.
I really, really despise this week's show.
Wow, the whole show?
There were bright spots in it. I mean,
yeah,
there was an awesome bright spot. Did you forget about the part where like literally Charlie probably will have a new job working for cheaters, just popping out of nowhere? Hey, excuse me, sir, you just cheated on your wife? Is there anything that you'd like to say as you're running down the street? And that was freaking amazing.
Yeah, there was I don't know. The show for me was it was all over the place. I mean, I thought it was probably booked on the cuff. Vince.
Well, see, that's what happens with the wild card.
Yeah,
wild card rules, man.
I mean, it does make for some interesting.
They didn't have any idea those four were showing up that night. So.
They had no idea, even though Roman said, "I'm coming to Raw."
And then was it retweeted like a couple of times by people?
WWE said, "Hey, you're not going anywhere," and he showed up anyway. But overall, I'm not sold just yet on the wild card. I still think that couple months down the line, this whole brand split is going to just be blown up. I think he's going to get pressure. He probably doesn't like the pressure right now that he's getting from USA and Fox, and I think he'll ultimately fold the brand split. So,
okay,
I think it is better when you have champions that can go on either show.
Yeah,
I always thought that was just the rule, anyways.
Yeah,
I mean, just to be completely honest.
Looking at this upcoming pay-per-view, Money in the Bank, you got Becky.
Go ahead.
Coming up, the new pay-per-view, Money in the Bank, you got Becky defending her title twice in one night. Lacey Evans, who's coming on real strong. That is a bright spot for me on Monday Night Raw, is Lacey Evans.
Mm-hmm. Inviting
my God,
well-dressed women to the classy affair.
Yeah. And what does the envelope smell like?
Affair. Huh?
Yeah, what does the envelope smell like?
Her pussy.
Oh, hello.
Oh my gosh.
But
sorry, Peaches?
She sprays her invitations?
But, she's coming on strong every
it is called
week.
a whore's bath.
Basically. Yeah. Hoe bath. We call it a hoe bath.
And then she's facing Charlotte. So,
yeah.
Do you guys see her dropping either one of those titles?
Well, according to all you asses out there who say, she's just not over like she was like 3 months ago. Yeah, and then she's got to lose a belt.
So, I think ultimately she will lose the belt. One of them, right? Has to happen. But I don't think for this pay-per-view she loses one of the titles. I think she holds on to both of them. She looks strong. And,
All right. So, let me go ahead and play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
With the king of the Smark Nation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. What's the gain in both scenarios? Whether she retains and successfully, keeps both her titles, and what's the gain if she loses one? And which one would you pick?
So,
King, great, knowledgeable.
in an ideal scenario, coming off of the first, coming off of Mania and it being the first pay-per-view, I'd like to see her retain, because then it just adds a little bit more stock. Because in my opinion, she has dropped her stock. We did a poll on our Facebook page, and
how did that go?
some people said that they think that she's cooled off a little bit.
Is that scientific accurate?
Yeah,
I voted, so
there's people that
pretty
voted.
scientific if I voted.
Now,
Okay.
So what does Brainiac Smurf have to say? Jesus.
Well,
Now-
I only say what the king tells me to
on the
say.
opposite side of the coin,
Okay.
if she were to lose one of the belts, that's also a good thing too, because now you have more matchups that you can run, on the blue brand if she loses to Charlotte. So,
Can I be honest? If she loses to Charlotte, meh.
yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, meh. It's happened before.
Yeah.
Meh. I'm gonna honestly say something and I'm gonna clear my throat a little bit.
Okay.
There might be some Raja in there,
Uh-oh.
just a little bit,
Okay.
But it to me is more interesting for her to retain both belts,
Yeah.
because I think it's something, and I could be 100% wrong. I don't think I've seen the WWE really do justice to retaining two belts. They usually have some kind of weird way to where it immediately, once they have both belts, it's either separated or they've made it so obvious that we know that they're either going to combine the belts together. Right now, we really don't know. I can't answer for me. Are they going to combine the belts together?
Yeah.
Like maybe people thought when they first had both dual belts? Or are they just going to play this along until she drops one of the belts and then it goes back to normal?
Yeah, I think, it's a way to maintain her popularity because it has taken a dip. I don't know. Maybe I could be on my own island with this if you guys...
Well, you are,
Yeah.
but it's okay.
That's okay. I don't mind being on the island by myself. But there is facts. I did the poll.
Okay.
And, there are some people that think
Yeah.
she's cooled down a little bit. So
Yeah.
I think it's a way to kind of help her. One thing I don't like to see from Becky, if she's going to be this total badass, is I don't want to see her have a confrontation with somebody and then just kind of skirt out the ring. No, punch that person in the mouth. Let's get some action
So hold
going.
on.
Okay.
So what you're saying is you want Becky to whoop that trick, whoop that.
Wait, you
trick.
want Becky to be a man?
I want
Well,
Becky
you
to
wanna
be
be the man?
the man.
Oh, gotcha.
I want her to, stomp a mud hole in somebody and walk it dry.
But-
That's what I want.
But let's be honest, okay? Let's talk about the facts, since you like to say the facts. Who the fuck is left? Right now, they're putting all their energy into freaking Lacey Evans. And that's it. What fucking happens after that? What is Naomi building up to be? She's not going to be like... I'm not saying to take nothing away from Naomi. I don't see a change in her affect in the next couple of fucking weeks. I don't see... Unless Charlotte's going to come up. But again, I'm going to say, meh, seen it again. Sasha's sitting out supposedly the rest of her career.
Well, maybe Money in the Bank would change it. I mean, she's got a
who
match.
the fuck is coming back? I'm just saying.
Well, Alexa Bliss is now...
Is Ronda Rousey going
Right.
to come back like the Hulk with a little shriveled arm from gamma radiation and come in and whoop somebody's ass? I just want to know who other than Lacey Evans. Once we're done with Lacey Evans, who?
Becky and Bliss.
Becky and Bliss.
That's where I would go.
Becky and Bliss.
Hold on.
You think Bliss still has something in the tank?
Oh, without question.
Without question. Other than ass, does she have something else left in the tank?
Yeah, without
What
question.
the hell is left in the tank?
Without question. She's a very talented performer, and she cuts excellent promos. So, yes.
I'm not disagreeing
I
with
would go
that,
there.
but again, what is she bringing to the table?
I think she brings a lot to the table. And we'll find out.
Is this on top of the table or just
I think
to the table?
I think
don't
I think
understand.
Matt Michaels have a lot to say, and you guys just ran right over him.
I'm
So-
waiting for him to interrupt like he does with all of us anyways.
Yeah. Well, he.
I'm trying to get a hold of Sin City Steve. He's on assignment right now.
Okay.
I want to see. He's out scouting wrestlers in Japan, so I want to see what women's wrestler in Japan is going to be coming over.
Right.
No, you know what? You forget one thing, and that is that skirting out of the ring, you seem to have lost the idea here in wrestling. One of the great things is when you don't have physical confrontation, that builds up to finally getting them together in the ring.
Right.
You know, you're the
cute.
kind of you're the kind of guy, Lucky. You're the kind of guy who you rub your dick through your pants. So by the time your dick comes out, it's already shot.
In other words, you blew your load
Yeah.
too soon.
Yeah. Apparently.
I got a question for you, Matt. What's your take on Sami Zayn getting thrown in a trash can?
Garbage can.
And
Garbage truck.
Yeah, the truck comes and pick him up and throw him in the back. I mean,
You know what? What else can Braun do at this point?
Yeah.
So you might as well do shit like that, because at this point they built him as such a monster.
Yeah.
Yet apparently he can't beat anyone for a title. So
right.
just keep him having, throwing people in, trash cans and outhouses, throwing, breaking apart cars with his bare hands. And, it's really hard. They've built themselves into kind of a corner what they can do with him.
Sure. Yeah.
He's got to prove that he can work a match with a guy like Sammy.
Yeah.
And if Sammy can make him look good, then you'll probably see him getting, Braun getting better opportunities. That's the biggest thing, is if you're a big guy now, you have to be able to work with small guys.
Yeah. True.
On the subject of Sami Zayn,
I thought you were going to say on the subject of small guys.
I wasn't ready to talk about you yet, but since we're here. But, Mark Henry this week said that Sami Zayn cuts the best promos right now in the industry. What do you guys think?
Well, they're pretty good.
I would say right now, yes.
Okay.
Right now. Maybe next week, who knows?
All right. That sounds good.
But if you think about it, his promo's good because really it's what Michaels talks about all the fucking time. I mean, literally, I'm sometimes wondering if Michaels has like a number and just spitting them lines like, here, you're gonna want to say this shit.
I can't tell you guys about anything that I'm booking for the future. So,
Right.
Hello.
But there's a lot of truth to it. I mean, there's a lot of truth to it, and like I say, Michaels is always on it.
But you know what? I think one of the things that you got to remember too is that stories, when universally you tell any kind of story, you have to base it in some kind of truth.
Yeah.
It could be the biggest, piece of horseshit, but if there's a little glimpse of truth to it, it becomes believable.
Yeah.
And that at least makes you question the reality. And that's, that's the thing that becomes, the entertainment aspect of it. I'm sure that there are so many people that find Sammy annoying right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because
but that's good.
Right, exactly. They don't understand why they find him annoying. And that's the thing. It's good. I think people want stories catered to them too much. And you look at it in any aspect.
Yeah.
If you have a problem with Game of Thrones or Star Wars or Marvel Universe or anything in pop culture that's entertainment, right? Generally, when you see the whining and bitching, it's because there is a thread of, well, it just didn't live up to my expectation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the thing is that you're one fucking person to all these different aspects.
Right.
And I think that's where we get lost. We get lost and we get locked into this. And we also get locked into nostalgia.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's, again, there's this whole idea that, wrestling was the best in the Attitude Era. And I think that there are people who are probably 10 years younger than us who probably say wrestling was the best in 2005. And there are people who are older than us,
Right.
who say Bruno Sammartino is the best fucking champion that the world has ever seen.
Sure.
On paper.
It's a joke.
No.
It's a joke. I know it's a joke.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but you're right on that.
But no, that's the truth. And so the problem is that the whole kingdom that Lucky has formed here.
He formed? He formed?
Smart, he did.
I thought he was asexual and he just kept multiplying himself because he keeps fucking himself, so he just kept multiplying.
Well, he's rubbing it against the pants again.
Who knew that load would like spurt off like spores of followers?
But it is blue. So anyway, the thing is though, when you look at that presence that the internet has now, you're looking at something in which the general consensus is I can say anything I want and feel as mad as I want to feel. Or if you're like me, and I learned this a long time ago, I can say anything I want and make other people as mad as they want to be. And I can keep poking that bear as long as I want to poke it. Because in the end, it doesn't really fucking matter because you have your own opinion. You're your own person.
Right.
You're going to like shit and you're going to hate shit.
Yeah.
But there's a mob mentality now because this whole thing allows us to just absorb all this. So, yeah, people are going to be pissed. Oh, Roman Reigns fucking on 2 shows now? You know, like, I need this.
Right.
You know? But at the same time, it all comes back to one fact. And Street hit it. Vince don't give a flying fuck.
Right.
He's not worried. I'm sorry. He's not worried. You know, the fact of the matter is that motherfucker just got an XFL deal with Disney and Fox.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So
Do you understand the type of orgy, financial orgy that is? If there's 2 companies you're going to sleep with and exchange money, is those 2.
Braun Strowman going to be wrapping people up in $100 bills,
Yeah.
basically.
Oh,
And
Right.
smoking that ass.
Right.
So I just think it comes down to that. You know, everyone is just, you know, it was one Raw. It was one Raw.
Yeah.
There's going to be, you know, at least till the end of this year, another Raw every Monday night. And then my guess is next year there'll be Monday Night Raw every Monday night for the rest of the year. And then after that, there'll probably be Monday Night Raw every night after that. You know, so if you think about it,
Yeah.
it's just so much TV. It's so much time. Yeah. We just can't be patient as an audience anymore.
Right.
And, you know, one day we think it's fucking brilliant, and one day we think it fucking sucks. And then something new and shiny comes over, and it's like waving keys at a baby.
Right.
Because it's like, look at that. That's nice.
Yeah.
AEW is a great concept. It's going to be fucking phenomenal. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
But is it something that is making him worry? Guys, he got the money. And by the time these television contracts come up, television ain't going to be operating the same anymore.
No. This is what Vince McMahon is going to be singing when that time comes up. Big bank, take little bank. That's what he's going to sing. Because at the end of the day, that's what it will take. Big bank, take little bank.
Yeah, but, you know, it's coming down to this. The fact of the matter is TV is not going to be the same when these contracts are up.
That's true.
And he's already got the network.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And so
He got the plug.
he's
Put
already
Raw and SmackDown on the network.
exactly. And then you just pay instead of $9.99, you have it tiered and you pay $19.99 or whatever. And then
I mean, Netflix does that shit to us all the time.
and what is Netflix offering you outside of what Netflix is making, you know, content-wise themselves, right?
Right. Yeah.
Whereas the network already has, they can't lose any of that catalog. Whereas Netflix, you lose Friends, everyone goes fucking nuts.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's the purpose of it.
Well,
They love that shit.
Well, and the reason they're going nuts, and this is where that line is being drawn, where the people who are over a certain age, who like Friends, they don't care about Netflix because they can watch it on TBS, right?
Right.
They're used to regular cable television. Cable television is going away. what people don't realize is the people who are getting pissed about Netflix are the people who are unplugged already.
Mm-hmm.
This is what it's coming to. And, what we're
Got a
arguing
father
about
that's
now.
the same way.
Yeah, what we're arguing about now, essentially is going to be non-existent because there won't be that competition. The only competition then will be for, do I give my $20 to WWE? Do I give my $20 to HBO? HBO is going to be screwed with Game of Thrones going off.
Yeah.
John Oliver, he had a great
That's a
line.
lot of pressure for Westworld.
Yeah, but it is.
It's
John
gonna be a lot of
Oliver
pressure for them.
said in 3 weeks, this station is fucked.
Because they already know the subscriptions are going to dip down after the and it regularly does it, but it's going to go even steeply down.
So that's what we're looking at. So,
But I will say this. It doesn't matter if you watch the product and you bitch and complain, or if you cheer and you think it's a genius idea. You are going to have one thing in common, or actually three things. Number one, you watched it, you either bought some merch, or you bought a ticket. So at the end of the day, that's why I say, Vince, don't give two shits. Because you can be pissed the fuck off and leave, and you still gave me your goddamn money.
And the only thing he's worried about, the only thing you would be worried about is the advertisers because of the network. Well, the fact of the matter is that the network already gave him the fucking money.
Basically.
Yeah.
And as soon as that money, as soon as that contract's up, Vince ain't going to have to worry about advertisers and networks most likely because television's almost going to be, and television's almost going to be dead at that point. So.
Because you have some of the major streams that are going to now have streaming stations, so it's crazy.
Yeah. Look at once Disney does it. Really quick, let's get to the wonderful Cauliflower Alley Club. It took place this past Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday last week.
You were there.
I was there. Let me just say, first off, if you guys do get a chance to go to Las Vegas, go to this. If you're a wrestling fan, this is worth your time. You get to see legends, and you get to see people who might just happen to live in Vegas and might happen to go there and might happen to induct someone or present them with a reward, like one John Moxley. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mr. Ambrose was out and about.
Love that promo.
Yeah. So, Eli Drake.
Yeah.
Sean Ricker was there at the same table with Mr. Moxley because they both trained with the wrestler who got the award. Mm-hmm. But the biggest thing is that if you're not a member of Cauliflower Alley, pay the $25. That's it. $25 a year for your dues, or do the $300 lifetime membership. Mm-hmm. Because this money goes to wrestlers who just cannot afford help, whether it be medical, whether it be their house getting repossessed, anything.
Yeah.
Rico Constantino, he was there.
Okay.
It was not planned. They did not, have him on the bill, but he went to one of the guys and said, could I say a couple of words? And he made it a point to, let everyone know that he was in such a bad situation just, a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
That CAC helped him. And if it wasn't for the money that CAC was able to provide him to get him the medical assistance, he wouldn't be alive right now.
Yeah.
And he's doing really good, from where he was to where he is now. He's really just overall, a changed person.
Right.
And that type of desperation, that type of, not knowing if you're going to be able to survive, if your life's going to happen, continue or not. This is what they do. They help relieve it. Kamala did put in a little video. He can't travel anymore.
Yeah.
They helped him out. So these are the people, that you've seen.
Yes.
That and JR hosted the banquet on the second night.
Okay.
And JR really drove it home of, if you love this business, if you've seen these people perform to entertain you,
right,
Or if you happen to be listening to this and you're in the business in any way or have ever been in the business, give back to the business.
Right.
Give back to the people who have done this for a living. And most of these people, we're talking about name people.
Yeah.
A lot of these people, they've been wrestling for 20 years, and you might have heard of them in your local area.
Yeah.
And now they need help because guess what? If you're getting paid, $50 for a gig, $20 for a gig, $100 for a gig over the years, you still probably don't have health insurance.
Right. Yeah.
There are still no unions for wrestlers.
Right.
So
yeah, we talked about this.
Yeah. So it's a great cause.
Yeah.
If you can get to Vegas, great. If not, please join. And next year, we're looking to hopefully have a table for ourselves.
Awesome.
And you just can't ask for better people. Dr. Dave Schultz got honored.
Okay. Yeah.
Dr. D.
Yeah.
Dory Funk Jr., man, 78 years old. And,
Yeah.
even though he's speaking a little slower and moving a little slower, you still look at him and you go, that motherfucker could probably kill me right now.
I'm sure.
So,
Yeah.
these are just some of the people, the Haku and Barbarian. They were there and they got honored. And then the big headliner was Mark Henry.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so you get to see people that you might not see, and everyone is willing to take pictures, sign autographs. So, can't say enough. Please look up the Cauliflower Alley Club and definitely join if you get a chance.
No doubt, man. Thank you for going and participating. Next year, we definitely will be there. I know I'm going to go because I believe in the cause as well. And
what's the yearly membership? I forgot to ask. Well, if you get the membership,
25, right?
$25.
$25.
Yeah.
$25.
Is there a lifetime membership?
$300.
$300. That's not
That's
bad.
it. So
Lifetime,
it's not bad
right?
at all.
Lifetime. $300. Come on.
$300. The only thing that you end up paying for then is right now the 3-day ticket is $150.
Sure.
Bucks a day. You do that once a year.
Right.
So if you put in $300, get your lifetime membership.
Yeah.
You get I think they're still doing the newsletter. So it's again, if you've never been a wrestler but want to feel like you're part of the fraternity,
Sure.
and you're helping people out
Yeah.
by doing it, this is the way to do it.
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it. King Lucky, any final words?
On with the show.
All right. Simon Street, man. How you going to take us home?
You know what? I want to take it a little bit solemn.
Okay.
Although this episode will not be aired immediately, by the time it does, most people would have already known the unfortunate sober feeling. Today, in right outside of Denver, Colorado, there was a shooting that took place at a STEM school, which roughly has kindergarten through 12th grade. 2 individuals went in there armed, and a lot of people got hurt, and one person is confirmed dead.
Oh,
I'm not going to take a moment to lash out or to go into any logistics or
Sure.
my beliefs. The one thing I do want to touch base on is anybody who is listening at the time, and I know us BadBoyz, us being in Vegas and us being affected by a mass shooting, we all knew somebody. And at this time, if you have any prayers or energy, positive energy, please send it out to them. But I'll take it a step further. A lot of people, when they're in these situations, they don't quite know how to grasp reality and understand that, wow, this has just happened. What if I could have done something? And to a certain degree, that could be true. But what you can do is, if you see something, say something. But even past that, be proactive with the way we treat one another. I think a lot of times we will see somebody that's struggling, that's on the rails, and we don't take that opportunity to reach out to them. And especially that's a big case point with adolescents and teens.
yeah.
Sometimes people look at teens and say, you know what, they don't have bills they have to pay for. They don't have expenses. They don't have to go to a job. But that doesn't take away from the fact of what they go through and the traumatic experiences they may be encountering.
Sure.
And just for anybody, you know, there's tons of organizations, hotlines that you can call and reach out. It doesn't have to get there. And I just hope that the families can stay strong in these trying times.
Yeah.
And I hope that a community comes together to be able to start the process of healing, not just at the epicenter of what happened today, but continuing on with strengthening the community so that these things can be avoided.
No doubt. Thank you much, Simon Street. Look like you want to say one more thing, Matt, or are you good? You good? Okay. And let me just throw out there, right before we got out of here, to StarCast, just want to throw it out there. We will be there, and we want you to be there as well. If you do have your passes, look for us. We'll have a vendor table there, and we'll be looking for you. We'd love to see who our listeners are. And
you'll get free merch.
Free.
I thought you were going to say free ice cream sandwiches.
Free ice cream.
Free.
Apparently, Simon
free.
Street is going to provide everyone with free ice cream.
That's right. So make sure when you see Simon Street, you ask him for the ice cream.
Wow, I better start saving up.
Hey, until then, thank you all for listening. Remember to always keep us locked on our social media sites where we're posting things all the time, information that we think that would benefit you and your enjoyment for wrestling. So thank you for listening, and we're out.
Thank you so much for checking out that video. If you liked what we did there, make sure you hit that like button. If you're new here, slap that subscribe button and ring the bell. That way you can be a part of the notification squad. Follow us on social media at Vegas BadBoyz with a Z on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And until next time, we will see you in the next video.